And so you understood that your supply chain was fragile. So what are you going to do? If you go time and time again, your supply chain's fragile, that seems to be the weak link. What are you going to do as leaders? You're going to
Find
shore it up.
alternatives, have plan Bs. Yep.
Exactly. And then when the crisis happens that attacks your supply chain, you're prepared because you were prepared, because you were mentally thinking about these things and you were basically bench testing your organization across lots of different threat points,
Right. At
right?
least at a minimum, it's kind of like you have a plan in place. So you know there's a possibility. You've opened up your mind to realize that there is a possibility to have a plan B to begin with. So when that pandemic does happen, you know there's like this whole other area where you can explore and find solutions. Whereas other folks that haven't even considered it, it's like the thought hasn't even entered their mind yet to
Well,
find a plan B.
they think the boss is going to figure it out when it happens. It's not their responsibility, except they're all in the same boat. So when the boat gets hit by a torpedo and goes down, they're all going down. They
Exactly.
just really don't think that.
And then it's like blame game and everybody's overreacting and, anxiety, all that kind of stuff.
But
So,
even
so when
more
you,
than coming up with a B plan, you end up creating a better A plan because you get confronted with these deficiencies, these shortcomings. And sometimes it's with the people. Sometimes it's so-and-so's got to get better training in communications with human beings. So-and-so's got to get a wider understanding of how software is being integrated across the company, not just the one project he likes to focus on. And that just makes you stronger, makes you more resilient. But ultimately, if it's a black swan, you couldn't have prepared for it perfectly, but your team thinks like a agile organization. Gun is drilled, they know what's going to happen. You hear the bad news on the TV. Okay, we're going to get pulled in. We're going to go into a room. We're going to big whiteboard, and we're going to roll up our sleeves, and we're all just going to pitch in our thoughts, and we're going to recreate something, or we're going to reinvent something, because that's how we've been doing it in the exercises.
yeah, exactly. And then you're just repeating exactly what you learned. So Marty, what you explained earlier about setting up those processes or going through those tabletop exercises within the organization, is that what you do as a consultant now? Do you offer that service?
I'm getting ready to. I'm right now. I'm the CEO of a Veterans Foundation.
Okay.
I just took the reins of that. It's called Warriors Haven USA, here in Wellington, Florida. So I'm in Florida too.
Hey, awesome. Good
Just came
deal.
down here about 2 months ago. I'm sorry. I have another company that it's called Mind Lab, and it's a consulting and training company. So it's just getting off the ground. But yes, those kinds of scenarios and facilitating for a short period until the in-house, we train the trainer kind of thing, get somebody inside the company that can facilitate, because
Yeah.
people are people, right? And you get more than 5 people in a room, they break into cliques. There's always an
Yeah.
alpha figure that tries to take the reins and take over. That can disrupt things. And you know what they do in the military, if they're suspicious that the officer thinks he knows everything and he's been just kind of keeping his cards close to his vest, and they're out on a patrol, the lane grader will just either kill the officer or wound him in a way that he can't communicate. Now the guy's got to carry the officer, and the next person in command has to figure out the rest of the mission. And if he wasn't told anything,
Exactly.
right, it shows up the deficiency. So the same thing in a corporation or a company. With my partner with the foundation, we talk about this all the time. My wife's in Australia right now visiting one of our kids, and I said, look, if I've got a little dog, if I leave the dog in dog daycare, or if I have the dog in the house and something happens to me, he's got a key to my house and he's on the list of authorized people to pick the dog up. And I remind him of that from time to time, because if I just drop off the map because I'm in a car accident, nobody's going to know because my wife's not here. It's a
Exactly.
contingency plan, right?
It's a contingency plan. You got it. Yeah, exactly right. And so you practice everything that you preach as well, right? Because those lessons actually have a lot of value if you implement them correctly. And teaching those to organizations, I think you're onto something big. That demand for what you're talking about here in tabletop exercises, building these frameworks in place, and then do that train the trainer type mentality of, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of like frameworks to go through, right? Check in with them maybe once a month or once every quarter to do some refresher training with those trainers. So that way all of this culture can start permeating through that entire company.
You would hope. Unfortunately, unlike the military, people do migrate.
And the people, exactly.
I've been running companies and leading companies for a long time, and I've gotten to a point where it's better than it could be. And most of the people trust that we're not going to burn the messenger when they're telling us something's going wrong. That's another issue, the crime of omission.